Hello and welcome to Jockeys The Podcast. I'm Adam McNamara, and this is the racing podcast where we strip away the guarded versions of jockeys that you see every day on TV, giving them the platform to tell us what they really think. We talk about their regrets and aspirations, and we have a couple of laughs along the way as well.
On this episode, Ciaran Gethings.
You wouldn't have ridden in that race.
I would, yeah, no problem. You do know I've schooled before. Like, I started off in a national hunt yard. Like, I can jump.
Can't get over why he's doing it, but look, he's got his move. He's got where he wanted to be. So, it's not the way I think I would do things. And yeah, we had some unbelievable good days and a lot of good winners as well along the way, which is, as you know, good winners is everything really. Numbers is what keeps you going day to day to get you out there. It's big winners really. Quite stupid when I drink. Never bad. Never do anything, like never fight or anything. I do get quite hyper. Yeah, I would probably say I'm an unbelievably lightweight.
Ciaran, welcome to Jockeys The Podcast. Really good to get you on. I want to start like I normally do by asking you about outside a race and what you do when you're not at the race course riding or riding out. Have you got any hobbies or any interest that you take up outside of the saddle?
Yeah, like I do love racing and I watch an awful lot of racing as well. But yeah, I do. I'm a big football fan and rugby fan as well. I might go to watch Gloucester this evening. I'm only 10 minutes from the stadium, so them Friday nights are usually are a good night. So not racing tomorrow, so I might go and watch that. Have a burger and a pint.
Let's start. Let's start with the football, and we'll come back to rugby. So, in terms of football, what teams do you support? Do you follow a specific team, or are you just like general kind of fan?
Yeah, no, I support Newcastle. When I was younger, well, still now, to be honest, I'm like got an obsession with goalkeepers. I used to like goalkeepers a lot. My old man used to play in goal when we were younger. And Shay Given was the keeper of Ireland, and he was a Newcastle keeper. And ever since then, I've been following them. I remember when we were very young. I'm Wicklow, so I'm literally an hour below Dublin. But it was like a month organising trip to Dublin to go get a Newcastle jersey, because that was the only place that would sell them when I was about 10 or 11, I suppose. So that was a big ordeal going up there and getting a Newcastle jersey.
It's quite unique for an Irishman, I'd say, to support Newcastle, because usually I find Irish people support either Liverpool or United. That's the two teams Irish people go for. So did you manage when you were younger in each stage to get over to St. James's Park? Because obviously you mentioned just getting the Newcastle jersey in itself was difficult enough. So did you ever manage to actually get over and see them when you were younger?
No, never. I still haven't been to St. James's Park either. I watched them playing Villa last year. All right, so that was the first time I actually seen them live. So I'm still trying to get up there. I know a few people that have like maybe a box or restaurant or whatever up there, but it's a long way away. Especially Premier League, like it kind of blends into national hunt season as well, and it's either a Saturday, Sunday, or Friday night or something. So difficult to get there, but I definitely want to get up there some stage. Looks unbelievable atmosphere.
And so I'm a Liverpool fan. So like the last couple of months, obviously there's that drama playing out with Isaac. People are commenting about his attitude, the way he's gone about it, and he's down tools, he's not trained. And obviously I think you tend to look at it through your own kind of perspective. And I don't think we're never going to see something like that in racing, are we? Like, can you ever imagine a jockey like wanting to move one yard to the other and then down tools or a retained rider and stuff? Isn't there like such a massive difference between other like sports to racing in that sense? Like, it feels like the players have a lot more control or sway or something.
I'm probably looking at, a lot of us are probably looking at it from the racing point of view, really, that it just wouldn't happen. Like even the top boys, like racing wise, and it's probably never been seen before, really. And that's we've probably got a racing hat on it, and just can't get over why he's doing it. But look, he's got his move, he's got where he's wanted to be. So I don't know. It's not the way I think I would do things, and
But do you ever think we might get to a point where jockeys can do that. Do you know what I mean? Like have that bit more control and be able to dictate things on their own terms, or do you think we're way too far behind in that sense to ever get to that point?
I don't know, like from the type of jockey I am, or from like the grade of jockey I am, I always, and I think probably a lot of jockeys relate to it, whereas there's always another jockey to take her place. Like I don't think I don't think you can be higher than the game, because there's always going to be somebody come along and take your rides, and no matter what at what level. If it's the lower grade, there's people. There's higher grade. There's always going to be somebody come along, and they'll be offered the rides, and they take them. So yeah, I can't see it happening, to be honest. I don't know, but I don't think so.
I'd love to see it just purely for like the news angle and a bit of drama, like seeing jockey refuses to ride out for so and so because he wants to move to different yard. Like the media'd love it. It'd be a nice change for once, like, wouldn't it?
Oh, it would, yeah. But like the type of people, the only people that are in that position is Ryan Moore, Will Buick, and I don't know them, but like I'm big fans, and they're so professional, and they're the only boys really that could do a sumi on maybe in France, but that's where you might see it, but maybe not.
Let's talk about the rugby then, because obviously you've said that you're not far from Gloucester. You might be going to the rugby this evening. One thing I think Irish people can be proud of, and obviously you've got the top on you there, is the Irish rugby, and it's one of the rare things I think alongside horse racing where internationally it's something we actually do well compared to the likes of football and other sports where we're not quite at the top level. But what is it about rugby for you? Because obviously you're from Wicklow. I'm from Limerick, so I'm a Munster man, and obviously Munster's kind of very, very much ingrained in your sort of upbringing and the culture around Limerick. So what was it for you at rugby that dragged you in?
I don't really know. I've never played it. I've never been in a team, but my old man, and he never played it either, but he's always been a massive rugby fan. And that was kind of the sport that we watched a lot when we were younger, really. I would have loved to play it, but I was so small when I was growing up. I would have been killed. So, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of always the sport that we went to, really. And then I went to pony camp with Andrew Porter as well, who plays. He rode ponies same year as me, so yeah, he was a bit bigger than I was, but so I kind of have, I don't know him personally, but we kind of, I say if we seen each other we'd speak, but that's a thing I like watching his career go forward to what it is now. It's quite nice to see how well he's done, really.
And tell me what's it like when you go to the games, because you said you haven't managed to get to like St. James's Park, so we can't like compare the different kind of stadiums and the atmospheres, but when you go to watch Gloucester and you said you might have a pint or stuff, I always get the sense, I've not been to that many rugby games, but that the atmosphere is a bit more, less kind of hooligan-y than the football atmosphere, and you can relax a bit more and enjoy it a bit more.
Yeah, definitely. Gloucester's got the shed where it's just it's a freestanding spot. That's good atmosphere, but it's I went to watch Leinster in the what was the Heineken Cup, I don't know what it's called now, Heineken Cup final in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium down in London. That was unbelievable. But like you're in amongst the rival fans, you're sitting next to them, you're sitting in front of them, and there's just no badness happens. You share a drink, you have the crack, and yeah, it's a lot more of a friendly rivalry, I suppose. Whereas football, you're literally barred off from each other and not let near each other like animals, really. But yeah, it's both of them are as good a day out. But the rugby is good fun. Yeah, Gloucester's a great night out. It's usually on a Friday night, and it's good atmosphere. It's a great because there's no real football team around here, so there's a lot of local support. So yeah, I enjoy going to that. Yeah,
and there's a good like drinking culture around the rugby as well, isn't there? Because like I said, I've not been to games, but I was in Bath last year in Flann O'Brien's Irish Bar, just as they were in a final somewhere, but they weren't playing in Bath. But obviously it was up on all the screens inside in the pub, and the place is absolutely jam-packed. And we only went for kind of a day out, a couple of pints, and before you knew it was 11 o'clock, we were getting the last tray and absolutely wheeled. But it was really good fun. Do you manage to get stuck into a couple of pints when you're going to the rugby, or do you have to be like mindful of that if you're riding in a couple of days' time or whatever?
Definitely if you're riding or even riding out in the next morning, you have to be careful. But yeah, like if you have a day off the next day, you can go and enjoy yourself. Yeah, you definitely have to get your head away, and even if it's not the rugby, just to go and have a pint with friends or go for food with friends or whatever. It's always good to get your head away to do something different, really.
And this is getting a bit more personal, but are you lightweight, or are you able to hold your drink? Because I think most people would assume jockeys, based on, you know, like your low body fat, you're watching your weight all the time, generally quite fit, that you can't really handle drink. And I know I was a lightweight when I was riding, and I'm still a lightweight now, even though I put on the weight. So it's not like, I think that might be specific to me. But are you able to handle a few drinks, or are you like having one or two and you're tipsy?
I don't know. Probably people have probably a different outtake to what I have. Yeah, I can drink, but I get quite stupid when I drink. Not never bad, never do anything, like never fight or anything. I do get quite hyper. But I enjoy it, yeah. But yeah, I would probably say I'm an unbelievably lightweight. Yeah.
Right, let's talk a little bit more about racing then. I looked up your stats before I got you on this podcast, just to get a kind of a better view of your career as it went on, because I've only known you kind of the last 3 or 4 years. So I wanted to kind of look back a little bit further. And one thing that struck me was the number of good winners you've had. And
Yeah.
as well as that, they all, more or less, nearly all of them, bar a handful, are for Stuart Edmonds. So I wanted to know that relationship you've got with Stuart, and the big winners that you've had. How has that made you feel, like, as you progress through your career? Because it's kind of started quite early on, didn't it? And it's carried on to pretty much now. Like, how's that bond? How was the bond formed, and how did it transition throughout the years?
Yeah, look, I went to. I'm actually not riding for Stuart anymore now. But I rode for Stuart first of all as I was an amateur. I had my first ride for him, and then I kind of rode as a claimer kind of throughout the years, and then I got to £3 claim really, and Stuart was kind of on the up, and just seems that I was riding a lot more for him. And then all of a sudden, I was just riding all of them really. We clicked, we got on brilliant. He's a good friend. Wouldn't have a bad word to say about him, and we've had a lot of success together really. Some unbelievable good days, but we just had, I don't know, we trusted each other. I always said I think I used to ride £10 better for Stuart, because I knew the horses so well. I done so much work with them at home, and yeah, it was just something that was clicked. He only trained probably 30, maybe 40 horses max. But yeah, we had some unbelievable good days, and a lot of good winners as well along the way, which is, as you know, good winners is everything really. Numbers is what keeps you going day to day, but to get you out there, it's big winners really.
And that, like, to have that level, like I said, to not have that many horses, but to still produce those good winners and big handicaps and stuff, it must feel that much more important to, like, a smaller yard and to yourself to be able to deliver that on those big days.
And massively, yeah. But like Stuart is, he doesn't have the numbers of good big trainers, but he's an unbelievably good trainer. Any ammunition he gets, he does well with them, and yeah, he's a very, very good trainer, and his stats show that really. He probably does well with the number he has as well. He probably doesn't want to get much bigger, because that's what suits him. And yeah, he's had some big winners even before me as well.
Talk to me then about the kind of the next step and where your career progresses, because it's kind of a recurring theme, I think, for a lot of jockeys, that you do well, you have a level of success, and then you might find yourself just kind of plateauing a bit and maybe not stepping up to, let's say, grade 1 level or Cheltenham winners and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Are you actively, like, year on year thinking, how do I get to that level? How do I improve? How do I improve the grade of horses I'm riding or the trainers that I'm riding for? Or are you content to go with the status quo, and are you happy with your career and where it sits at the minute?
Last year I had 4 months out through injury and probably lost a few rides, and that's I got to like February last year, and I wasn't enjoying it at all, and that's why I just said Stuart, it's probably best that I go. That probably we cut ties really. I wasn't enjoying it. I probably wasn't in a great headspace, and it wasn't a rash decision I was thinking about for a while. It probably came to a shock for a few, but for me it wasn't, and people around me it probably wasn't either. Yeah, because I only had 15 winners last year, which is not embarrassing, but I don't like that. I've hit like 30 winners, 33 winners, and that's where I'd like to get back up to. So I just thought, yeah, I need to do something different. I need to get out, probably build a few bridges again, and just get back going. And the one thing I've noticed all through when I've been riding is to like surround yourself with good people, because whether that's good trainers, your group people around you, you have to have like good people, positive people around you, because you can get sucked into negativity, and that's happened to me in the past, and probably I don't want that to happen again. So yeah, I just thought I need a clean slate, and I'm loving it now. I'm as happy as I have been for a long time. I'm busy right now, and I'm confident again, which I probably wasn't all last year, to be honest.
I think that's another kind of, there's a lot of recurrent themes in this podcast, I think, because like the mentality between jockeys is obviously you're all unique and different, but they all have kind of those recurrent themes, and confidence is one that comes up a lot. If you can get back to that state of confidence, it's almost like no matter what happens, you're going to get back to the level you want to be. Because when you're, you know yourself, when you're riding without confidence, you can't get anywhere near it, can you? It feels like an
It's a
impossible
slog.
uphill battle. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a slog. Like that's what we were saying earlier. What level I would like to get to. Like obviously, like not every being like I'm realistic as well. I'm not going to be champion jockey, but if I could ride 30 winners a year, have a couple of good winners throughout the year, that's brilliant for me for the level I'm at. And like obviously I want to ride winners every day, but I'm not riding favourite. I'm not riding horses with chances every day. Look, it's gutting to get that close and not win, but if you like take a step back and see that horse has actually probably ran way above his odds, probably way above what connections were thinking, and that when you actually get out of like the disappointment of not winning, that's probably as good as a win, to be honest. Last 3-4 months, I'm happy. I'm content with my riding. Obviously, you can keep improving, and I always will, but I'm going out there confident, and that makes a big difference, really. Yeah.
So looking into sort of the upcoming season or the upcoming national hunt season, in theory, we could expect you to have a really good season. Obviously, you need a little bit of luck along the way, but in theory, you could have a good year.
I'd like to think so. I'd like to get my numbers back up anyway. Like this time last year, I was coming back from injury, and that's a slow process, and then get injured again, probably 3 weeks after coming back from the original injury, or 4 weeks after that. So it's just that was a slow process. Whereas this year I'm fit, I'm healthy, and I'm getting plenty of rides, which I'm happy with that as well.
There was one thing that popped up as well when I'm looking through your career, was the kind of the social media abuse that you received a couple of years ago after a fall that you had. I don't know, it was well publicized at the time. How have you managed to deal with that as you've gotten older and a bit more mature? Does it still rub you up the wrong way sometimes, or have you managed to get to a place where you can kind of completely dismiss it and just push it off to one side?
Yeah, no, probably the complete opposite, really. Yeah, I like when all that happened in Hereford, I was 17. I was naive and young, and probably I've never experienced any of that before as well. So yeah, probably took to heart too much, really. Probably thought too much into it. Whereas now it's water off a duck's back, really. You get it anytime most times you're riding, really, especially if you're riding fancied ones or whatever like that. It doesn't get me down at all, really. Some bad things have to happen for you to learn from it, and that was a prime example, really. That the Hereford situation, it was dreadful bit of riding, to be honest. What happened, what started the whole thing off, really. So it was one of them things, but it was definitely something that not glad that happened, but got it out of the way and move on from it, really.
Well, you said there it was a dreadful bit of riding, and like Yeah, maybe it was, right? But I also think 17 seems like an incredibly young age to be having to deal with that sort of thing. And yes, you made a mistake. And even if in your own opinion, it's a dreadful bit of riding, that doesn't justify, obviously, the abuse that you get on the other side and people feeling like they can send you messages or comments on social media to try and absolutely destroy your character.
If anybody, we're in a sport that people are betting their money on us, and we're in the public domain. And like, for example, Isak, if he misses a penalty for Liverpool this weekend, like it doesn't compare to what he's going to get this weekend, what we get. No, it shouldn't happen, and it's awful what does go on, but I don't know what can be done to stop it, to be honest. Social media is brilliant, and I'm very pro social media, but it can be a terrible spot as well.
If you'd one piece of advice to give to younger jockeys now who are going to inevitably deal with something like that in the future, what would you say to them, given your experience with it and how you dealt with it and how you came out the other side and how you deal with it now? What would your advice be?
Oh, well, like if it does get you down, speak to somebody, really. If it does get to you, speak to somebody, because it's going to happen. But yeah, definitely don't lock it up and throw away the key, and get it out there and speak to somebody. And yeah, because it can get you down, like especially when you're young and not used to it, and especially like you see a lot of the apprentices, like the very, very good apprentices, they're thrown out at so young, like they look so young, and like life skills is probably, they haven't even learned a lot of that, really. So yeah, just get a good mentor, get good people around you, and jockey coaches are brilliant nowadays as well. I think they're the best thing that has happened to young jockeys around, really. And I definitely noticed when I lost my claim, that when I lost the jockey coach, that was probably a hit as well, because you have somebody to speak to every day, and then you lose your claim, and it's kind of gone from you, really. So jockey coaches are a must, and are a brilliant thing that came in good few years ago now.
Another thing I wanted to talk to you about is kind of the difference between flat and jump jockeys. Because obviously when I first like properly met you and was talking to you, it was riding out at Archie Watson's a couple of summers back, because you came in for the summer to ride out, and it was yourself and a couple other national hunt jockeys came in, kind of riding out part time, just while the national hunt season was gone quiet. And I think we had a great laugh, and mainly at your expense, but it was good fun. But I couldn't help but notice the differences between the like mentalities of flat versus jump jockeys. I had in my head that kind of assumption that jump jockeys are braver jockeys, and they're obviously riding over obstacles, so they're braver. And then you lads come in riding out, and I'd never met a bunch of bottlier, fearful fellas riding horses in all my life. If you were legged up on a 2-year-old, like before you even got on it, if you saw your name on the board beside a 2-year-old, is what's this thing like? What's this? Has this done anything? Has this tried to bury anyone? And then you'd be on your nerves the whole lot. So like the whole jump jockeys are brave thing, I want to can that right now, because I don't think it's necessarily true.
Well, it obviously is true, because I don't think you go down to the national with 34 runners around you. Well, I know for a fact you wouldn't, because you wouldn't jump a puddle, but like it's a different type, isn't it? Like it's a different type of riding, and them 2-year-olds used to, like, could get my 2 feet in the next strap. I would, like, it's different. It's different, isn't it?
I don't think jump jockeys are braver in one sense, but flat jockeys are equally as brave in a different sense. They are completely different styles. Like I always remember when they did the jump jockeys flat race at York, the jump jockey Nunthorpe, I think they call it. I remember being in the weighing room, because it was like middle of the day, and you'd be in the weighing room, and I remember like Sam Twiston and Daryl Jacob and them coming in, and they were riding these yokes, and they went out to ride them, and they came back in, and no one talked about the race. They all talked about what their yokes were like in the stalls. And I was like stalls compared to, like I said, coming down to a national fence with bloody 30 odd runners around you, the size of them fences, and then to be worried about a yoke lifting its leg up in the stalls, it absolutely fascinated me.
Yeah, no, I remember doing the stalls and Archies and all as well, like, and you'd be stuck to them, like, but then you'd happily go down and school one over fences or hurdles 5 minutes later. It's the flat boys I watch an awful lot of racing, and I probably watch more flat than jump really, and like watching the boys around Wolverhampton, and they're literally on heels and all. Like I think anybody that rides a horse, no matter if it's jump or flat, and ambulances behind you, that take your hat off to them all really.
One thing that I'm a bit disappointed about as well is the flat jockeys jump race hasn't carried on anymore. It used to be at Lingfield every year, and I really wanted to ride in it, and I never really got the chance. The only chance I got was I was riding out actually at Archie's one morning, the day of the race, and Trevor Whelan rang me and said, "Oh, I'm meant to be flying over to Ireland to ride this thing in this race. Flight's cancelled. Can you ride it?" And I was just about to say yes, and Trevor went, "Oh, it's a really good jumper." And now anybody who knows Trevor knows that he's a very sarcastic man, and he was always taking the piss out of me. So I thought straight away, no chance. This is going to be an absolute screw. Not riding it. So I said, no, I'm not riding it. I was watching the racing that day, and it absolutely sluiced up, jumped like a stag, and won half the track. And I was absolutely fuming I never did it. But saying that, I'd probably fell off at first anyway, so it wouldn't have been much good.
I'd say you wouldn't even go. I say you would have seen the biggest pothole on the way racing and drove into it, and you would have been on the side of the road. You wouldn't have ridden in that race.
I would, yeah, no problem. You do know I've schooled before. Like I started off in a national hunt yard. Like I can jump.
Yeah,
better than you are.
I haven't witnessed it.
I'll dig out some videos from the good old days and I'll send them over to you. Ben Post, I want to tell this one because this I don't think I've ever laughed so much in my life. We were trying that day. I think you were in the stalls on one as well, or actually a bunch of 2-year-olds going through the stalls, and one was being very tricky and rearing up. And obviously Craig Whitterford and his team are there because they're proper, behavioural specialists, trying to get it in, and it just keeps rearing up. So they tell Ben to get off it. So he does, and it just keeps rearing up and won't go in. And he was itching to get back on this thing, wasn't he? Like he was fuming he had to get off it. All he wanted to do was get back on that horse.
And we were hiding behind the fence, hoping we wouldn't have to get on it. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a different breed. Some lads just don't see danger, do they? And he's one of them. Final one I want to ask you, and this is like a recurring theme as well throughout all these podcasts, is I wanted to ask you about your love life and see if you can give us some details. One, because I just love the kind of gossip of it and I love digging into it, but also because I think it is difficult, obviously, for a jockey to manage a love life when you're as busy as you are and you're dealing with all the things you're dealing with, whether it be social media abuse, injuries, just all the time you spend in the car. How is the love life, and how have you found it to manage throughout your career?
Yeah, it's good. Me and Kate, we've been together a long time now. Like when I fell off that horse in Hereford, she actually wrote an article for the Racing Post to back me up, and that kind of started her career really. And now she's flying. She's doing a lot for Sky Sports and Aston Villa, and she's a very busy girl. But we probably have a different relationship to a lot of people. Like we very much got our own lives. Some people can't get their head around that, but for us it works really well. We're not in each other's hair, and like she's got her own career, I've got my career, and we meet at home and sit on the sofa and watch telly, and we go out and go on holidays and whatever. But we're very much independent.
It must help as well that she's like kind of within the industry and has like an understanding of your job and the pressures that you're facing, and obviously you understand her side of the industry and the way she's got to work. Like I said, if you're both independent with a good understanding of each other, that must help as well.
Yeah, definitely just understand the game really, and getting up in the morning, probably not coming home till late at night, and yeah, she gets that and whatever. But the one thing I try and do is not like when it's home, that's racing. Other than obviously I watch a lot of racing, but in my terms, like came home last night and beat or whatever, and it's not mentioned because it's over and done with, and move on. But yeah, she very much gets it and understands, and vice versa really with her. She's absolutely flat out at the minute, so it's great to see really. She's done very well off her own back as well, which is great.
I think that's probably all we've got time for. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you and catching up with you again. I'm going to really look forward to the day we see you in a set of stalls somewhere over 5 furlongs. I'm going to really enjoy that. Best of luck for the rest of the season, and hopefully see you again soon.
Thanks very much. Cheers, Adam.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.